123 episodes ago, we were novices. We were rookies. We didn't know what we were doing. And I'm proud to say we still don't.
Were we younglings or were we Padawans?
I hope we weren't younglings because we would be slaughtered right now by Anakin Skywalker.
No!
Yes. I'm James Razile. You are
Brock Smink.
And this right here is the Rebel Scum. I'm moving my laptop. Podcast. The Rebel Scum podcast, or as some people like to call us, the RSP show.
Cool.
RSP. That's like a retirement fund.
Yeah, you know me.
Yeah. Brock, have you settled down from your high that was Star Wars Celebration 2019 in Chicago? Because for me, every time I go on the Twitterverse, people are like, I'm still reeling from it. Look at these videos. Look at this podcast. Listen to me talk about the experience. And I'm just like, well, I didn't have one.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm 35 years old. I can deal with the excitement. Yeah, we're literally hours away from the premiere of Avengers Endgame. So, like, that'll take our little Star Wars to the side. We're always thinking Star Wars, but that's okay. It'll be nice to have a little treat because I feel like as much as Avengers and Star Wars are two different things, the success of Endgame will affect Rise of Skywalker, because if people are okay with a 3-hour movie, that could easily mean we get a 3-hour Star Wars movie. I hate to say that's how it works, but I think sometimes that is how it works, but we shall see.
I'm curious how that trailer, the Rise of Skywalker trailer, is going to play out in the Endgame theaters, because you know it's going to be attached to that movie over the weekend. When are you seeing Endgame anyway?
Oh, I don't know. I'm excited to see it, but as I've said in other things, I don't need to rush to go to something. Like, granted, if I had tomorrow off, maybe I would go see it, but I'm more than comfortable seeing it in a week or so, you know.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to go see it on Friday. I was offered, but I am going to decline that because I have a busy week, and tomorrow's going to be like a really long day for me. So I just kind of want to not spend 3 hours of my Friday night in a movie theater. But if it was actually, if I had the chance to see it tomorrow, Thursday, I wouldn't do it either. I live too far from a theater to go see a 3-hour movie in the middle of the week at nighttime. But my 9-year-old nephew is excited for Endgame, and he said on Easter that he wants to go see it. And I said, but you haven't seen Captain Marvel. And he goes, well, let's go see that too. And I was like, I don't have 7 hours to spend in the theater. But he's excited to see it. So we'll probably take him to see it in like a week or two, because he's 9. So the spoilers will not ruin the movie for him.
Yeah.
And they won't ruin it for me either, because I feel like it's going to have a beginning, middle, and an end. That's how I feel.
People are saying it's going to be an A+ because they're like, look, the Avenger symbol. Let's put a plus beside it.
Do you know what's amazing? Sorry. One thing that's amazing is I was on the Twitterverse and the Instagramverse and the Facebookverse and the social mediaverse, and there's like, it's not large like it is for, say, Force Awakens, but there is like Infinity War is starting to become the whipping boy of movies now, where people are like, that movie wasn't good, it's just fan service. And I'm like, when did it hasn't been out that long, like when did people start turning on it? And I'm not saying it's not a ton, but I'm seeing these tweets now. I'm like, are you just trying to hate on a popular movie? Is that what's happening here?
I don't know. I can't really comprehend why people like the things they like. It's because, some people like Captain Marvel, some people don't. I went with a group of people that thought it was boring, and that's fair. They weren't like, it's not a terrible movie, it was just I got bored. So I don't know. It's like our constant conversation with Star Wars fans. Like, oh, I liked Rogue One better than Last Jedi. It's like, cool, that's fair. I don't know. I don't think you can ever please it. I mean, it's kind of nice to have a website, which is an odd thing to say, like Rotten Tomatoes, where it kind of shows somewhat of a democratic view of it. Like, it's, certified fresh if it's on over 80%. So it's as much as you're like, this is a sort of hard to judge on that, but the way they work is like, oh, that's good. So at the end of the day, you're gonna like your movie or not. It's up to you.
Yeah, no, it's true. Side Akbar, before we started recording this, I put on Solo, A Star Wars Story. And guess what? Still love it.
Oh yeah.
Still love it. Yeah, I was listening to another Star Wars podcast. I won't say which one. We're not going to plug them. Actually, I don't remember. I listened to like 5 of them. But and they were like, you know what? That one ages well. That one ages really well. I was like, yeah, it's almost a year old. It's
almost.
But what they were saying is it gets better on repeat viewings.
Yes.
And that's how, and remember when we was going into it, that's what we were talking about. Like, I think this is one that we're going to enjoy. Before we saw it, we were talking about, this is one that we could potentially enjoy 25 years from now without needing any other Star Wars movie. This could be just a movie we throw on and have a good time watching it. And, every time I watch it, it brings a smile to my face. It's not, it doesn't have the epicness of Force Awakens tailored to it, or even Rogue One, but there's something about it that's just so much fun. And Moloch is such a cool looking character.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, I'm totally in on this thing. And I really enjoy it. I just wanted to bring that up, guys. I like Star Wars story.
Yeah. It harkens back to the OG Star Wars where they would it was New Hope. It wasn't even called New Hope at the time. Was in theaters for like a long time because people needed to see it or whatever. And I would argue the Star Wars trilogy is what it is because people watch that movie over and over and over again. Like, it's not a matter of if it's a good movie. Like, Solo is a movie. It does what it needs to do. But like you said, it's like the more you watch it, you're like, yeah, I like this, I like that, I like this, I like that. So like, hopefully that prompts them to make a second one, because I know your thoughts on this. I would love a Solo 2. Or if you don't call it Solo 2, just like get Alden Ehrenreich and Jonas Satamo back in the Millennium Falcon cockpit.
Yeah, absolutely. Get Kira Maul going. And I actually saved, I gotta send it to you. I saved on my phone that I mentioned this to you and Rob on one of our live streams. It's the Maul movie poster, and it's Maul, Kira, and Mace Windu in it. And it's like, I'm just like, I don't know who made that. I have to track them down because I'm like, I don't know why you thought of Mace Windu in this movie. But now I want Mace Windu. I was always like, Mace Windu's dead. I don't want him coming back. Then I saw this. I was like, no, now I want him to be back. And I don't know what I want him to do, but I want him to be like horribly disfigured and like can't really operate or function. But he's after Maul. And the poster actually mentions like Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I'm like, that I don't want that near this movie. For me, I want this to be Maul, Kira, and somehow Mace Windu is like, I'm on to you and I'm coming to get you, Maul. Like, I know what you're doing with Crimson Dawn. That's not how it's going to play out. But that's what I want. That's not what I want, but it's what I selfishly want. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that I would ever expect to happen, but in my mind now, I'm like, well, if they just made a Legends book like that, I would be all over that.
Yeah, for sure. Why not? Like, there's always a chance for anything. How far are you in Master and Apprentice? Are you done yet?
Here's the problem, Brock. I got the audio book because I was like, I'll listen to it to work and back. But my drive's not really that far to work, but it's far enough to like get into it. The problem is when I'm driving, I'm also paying attention. Where I live has like the worst drivers in the world. They're in like the passing lane going slower than the slow lane, but the people in the slow lane are going just a little bit faster than the people in the passing lane. So you're kind of boxed in and you're just trying not to crash into something. And then there's like a cow. Like, so you're just like trying not to. So I listen to it, but I'm half listening to it. So I have to go back. And then also the actor who reads it is doing a fine job. I don't like audiobooks. I prefer reading. I'm really learning this quickly, but I think I'm on chapter 10. I'm like, oh man, I wish I was just reading this right now. No offense to the guy reading it. He's doing a great job, but so I think I'm chapter 10. Where are you on it?
I think I'm a little further than you, but I've been reading it on my phone when I'm on the train going to work. So it's nice. It's especially because you can just be anywhere and I'll have my phone on. He's on Instagram. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm in a galaxy far, far away. But the reason I bring it up is like Master and Apprentice is a perfect example of how you can still create canon, but because we're talking about Qui-Gon and a young Obi-Wan prior to Phantom Menace. And it's very interesting. I like it quite a bit. And I think there's something coming up. That's one of the reasons I even brought up Younglings at the beginning. It's because we've been talking about Jedi, just how the Jedi temple works, and I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Like they could make a show about this. They could just call it Jedi and like just call it Coruscant, and it's like I don't know. Like they should make a Chicago PD or Blue Bloods version of Star Wars and put it on the Disney Plus. It'd be great.
Who wouldn't want the thing? Whatever they put on Disney Plus, we're all going to rush to watch it. It's not like I mean, they could put on like here's Jabba pooing for 2.5 hours, and we'd be like, "Yep, all right, let's see what happens." But he's just constipated, and it takes him that long to do it. This really took a turn. Black. What if you could get a Black Series figure from Phantom Menace? Who would it be?
As you know, I'm a big Stormtrooper fan, but the problem with Phantom Menace is there's no real Stormtroopers in it per se. Probably a battle droid then, just to keep with the motif. But yeah, I mean, because I can't think of anything. I'd say Ben Quadranaros. So then it would exist in the world, and you would be happier.
I would be really happy. Yeah, Quadranaros, Watto, Sebulba. Let's get those going. I brought that up because they have I guess at Celebration, Hasbro had Black Series for 20th anniversary of Phantom Menace release, and they're in the old packaging, like the Darth Maul that you have. They're in like that packaging, but it looks really slick. And I was like, who would I? And Andrew and I were talking about it, so I just wanted to know what you would say. Guys, once again, this is the Rebel Scum Podcast. Give us a like.
Yeah.
And a subscribe. Even if you don't like it, do both.
Yeah. It's a democracy.
And honestly, if you give us a thumbs down, that's completely fine. Yeah. But if you could tell us why, that would be great. Brock, was that your computer?
Yeah, it was.
Awesome. Usually it's mine. Also, everyone, on Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live stream. What?
Woo.
What?
What?
Yeah, live stream.
Live stream. Get in there.
They're a lot of fun. This week, Andrew and I talked about you showed up on the chat.
Yeah. Trolling all haters.
And mostly just trolling Andrew and myself.
Yeah, pretty much.
Also, Andrew's going to be stopping by this episode in a little tiny bit. You don't even know this because this was like a last minute thing that happened. He's like, I need to get in there and talk to you. So anyway, let's move on to our first topic. This one is suggested from Patreon. Also, guys, subscribe to our Patreon page. We have a lot of content on Patreon. Right now, if you're on Patreon, you're watching Andrew Fantasia's Emperor Palpatine Unleashed, where he thinks that Palpatine won't be a Force Ghost, but will kind of be a Sith Force Ghost, but there's no such thing as Sith Force Ghost. And Andrew just goes into, I don't understand it. But Andrew is like this huge CVP fan. So he's like, I was like, do you want to do a video on that? And he's like, I just sent it. And I was like, well, how did you do it? And it's like, I think it's 2.5 hours. It's just him crying at the reaction of Palpatine's return. But anyway, this is from Patreon Christine Allison.
What up?
Yeah. Hey, could Rey possibly could Rise of Skywalker actually mean the possibility of Rey taking up the name Skywalker, using it as her last name because her parents were nobodies, and so she uses that to continue the Last Jedi's legacy. Brock, do you think there's a possibility that Rey could just be like, my name is Rey Skywalker?
Well, my initial reaction is no, because two things.
You didn't think of it.
And two, then all those episodes of someone saying, either you or Andrew or Rob saying, Rey Skywalker will become, I'll be like, no. But in all honesty, like the concept of like, I mean, they're toying a lot with like maybe the Skywalker will be a term like Jedi or Sith. I can get behind it because it's sort of like, I just don't. I like the concept of honoring Luke in some way, that she's taking on this mantle. I just don't understand. She hasn't had a last name for 2 movies. What's the importance of a last name now? You know what I mean? I mean, it's I mean, Luke always has a last name, right? He's always been a Skywalker. The relevance of his name just kind of doesn't become obvious till, I guess, Empire, right? When Vader reveals that it's like, I'm your father, right? I don't know. It just I guess I just need more info on like what it would be.
Well, I think it comes down to why is this called Rise of Skywalker? Not the I
Yeah,
keep wanting to call it Rise of the
yeah,
Skywalker, which would totally make this make sense. We don't know what that title is referencing, and J.J. Abrams says that it'll become obvious when we see it. You know, we'll know why. But I don't think we're gonna. I can't see. You know, the Monday Night Football trailer that I'm guessing we're gonna get. I don't think that's gonna explain in there what it is. Like we never got a full explanation of the Force Awakens. I mean, yeah, we kind of do. We all kind of have the same idea, I think, of it. But it's not like no one ever said, "Well, guess what?" I mean, Snoke does, I guess. But he's like, "The Force Awakens. Here we go." Like he's like, "There's been an awakening," and then it's like, "Well, was it Rey? Was it Finn? Was it?" You know, Qui-Gon back? Was it Anakin?
it was Broom Boy.
Yeah, but it's a brute. Like, so is it? How is this one going to play out? So if, and I think that's almost too on the nose. You know what I mean? Like if she does it now. That being said, you mentioned how we say Rey Skywalker. I say that all the time because when I look for images of Rey for like thumbnails and stuff, if I write down Rey, she's not really showing up. So I put down Rey Skywalker, and they just flood with her. And it's like, not that I think that she's a Skywalker, but everybody else puts her in as Rey Skywalker so that I know how to find her. And thank you for that. So
I think my what is stopping me from like embracing Rey Skywalker is that the narration and then the text we see in the teaser from Celebration was like every generation has a hero. It's like this, and Luke is saying everything that came before you now rests on your shoulders, and it's up to you. Blah blah. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but the concept is that you are the one who's going to restore balance if there needs to be a restoration. But it gives me the sense of like, Rey, this is your time to define who you are. So I just see as Skywalker adding a last name that she hasn't needed up until now. It just seems bizarre. It doesn't create that individuality. And I think 123 episodes, is that what we're at? 123?
Yes, sir.
All we've been talking about is like, who is Rey? Why is she like, what is her relevance? And we've slowly gotten that, but I know you'll say the same thing. It's like, there's something that we're going to be shown, hopefully, in this movie. And we're like, I don't want the offshoot of Luke. I want the new Jedi status quo, or whatever you want to call it. That's another thing. We're like, are we going to call them Jedi? I don't know.
What if Rise of the Skywalker, and this is probably way off, and it just popped in my head while you were talking. So I did a video, an Unleashed with Andrew the other day about who is Rey. Like, what is Rey's purpose? Because in Last Jedi, she says, I'm just looking for my place in all of this, right? So exactly. That's kind of what everyone's trying to figure out, is what is her place in all this? And you're calling it the Rise of Skywalker, and the trailer is 90% her. Mm-hmm. So what if metaphorically she is a Skywalker? And what if the importance isn't the name Skywalker, but is what Skywalker is, and what Skywalker is the chosen one, which goes right back to Rey being the chosen one. And so she is in some way related to Anakin on that level. And the Rise of Skywalker is actually just the rise of this prophecy type thing coming forward. Yeah. And Rey is the embodiment now of the prophecy, fulfilling Anakin, maybe even if it was like fulfilling the prophecy of Anakin through, you know, Ben Solo, Kylo Ren in some possible capacity, maybe, who knows? But what if that is how this all plays out? Is that Rise of the Skywalker is actually the rise of Rey, and Skywalker is just the name that is given to the personification of whatever the hell she is. And hell is canon in Star Wars because Han Solo says it. And it's also in Master and Apprentice.
Yeah, oh, big time. I mean, yeah, that's that's an easy like, oh yeah, we should. And I don't want to say easy. That sounds like loaded when I say it's an easy way out. Because in most fantasy novels or speculative fiction or whatever you want to call it, it tends to be someone on a journey that forms a group or has to overcome something or find some new type of power. It always works out that like somehow it's all been a connection, like, oh, you were the farm boy, but you were the king all along, right? So it's just I can get behind that. It's just we've told that story in this franchise. You know what I mean? Like sort of like the the junk the young slave boy that sold junk is the chosen one, and then his orphaned farm boy son brings back balance to the force. Like they're good stories, and I think if you gave Rey that story, it would be fine as well. It's just sort of haven't we heard that already? I don't know. I'll go back to it because I don't want to crap on Christine's question. Like I like the idea of forming a new type of force wielder, if that's what you want to call it. So if it's Skywalker, okay, but it's just we're ending the saga that we call Skywalker saga. So why would we call the new status quo? Or again, I'm forming that in my mind. The question is, what if her name was Skywalker? But I feel like that's the same idea. Either you call yourself Skywalker or I am a Skywalker. Like you're still like you're starting something new, and then we're saying the Skywalker saga ends here. Like I think there's just a little too many conflicting things happening all at the same time. But that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I look. The problem with Rey is that there's so many outcomes that we can look at and be like, well, we've seen that a million times.
Yeah.
But the thing, and I mentioned this on 1313, is the thing with Star Wars is it's almost like we're used to that, and that's kind of why we keep going back. Is there's a familiarity about it, and we enjoy it, and it's just. How about the Force is like, I'm gonna keep doing this until you jerks get it right, and right now Rey is that option. And so going back to Christy's point on the Skywalker, if it played out where she kind of realizes on some level that she is this next chosen one, or something has to flow through her for this all this to play out, then maybe she's like, she just takes a stand and says, I am a Skywalker because the Skywalkers are freaking useless, and I'm taking the mantle because the prophecy that Qui-Gon read, because he reads them all, says that that the Skywalker is it, and I am that Skywalker because I learned everything from Master Luke for the last year and a half, and I mean that's no time at all. But she's like, and now I consider myself to be part of this lineage because I have the same history as Luke. I basically am Luke. Let's do this. Here's my staff. Here's my saber. Here's my gun that Han Solo gave me because I'm also Han's daughter. And she's like, let's just throw that in there. And she's like, I'm a Skywalker. So in that instance, it could play out. I don't think, though, if this was an Never Tell Me the Odds, I'd be like 12%. I just don't see it happening. But, I mean, look, if there was a point where she was like, I'm Rey Skywalker, I feel like there would be a large percentage of people saying, yes, and then there'd be like a lot of people saying, I hate you, I hate this. So I really think it would be split, but I think people like the reaction would be one that I want to document for sure.
What if during Rise of Skywalker she just uses it as an alias to get into somewhere? They go back to Canto Bight and they use fake names. Finn is like, hello, I'm Kid Dynamite, and he looks at Rey and she's like, I'm Rey Skywalker.
She's so bad at coming up with a name.
It's a buddy cop movie in the making.
It could be. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how it plays out. And this is going to play out into our next topic, and that's John Boyega says that he doesn't think he'll be portraying Finn anymore because this is a buddy cop comedy that is going to have. That's just going to be complete like war shit. Like there's going to be nonstop action and war, and people are going to die. And hopefully, Akbar comes back from the dead, and like things are gonna happen. I'm just joking. And things are gonna happen in this movie that you're gonna say, hold your pants. Hold them. Also, we're going to talk about Rise of Skywalker. The Rise of Skywalker. Spoilers, but we're going to wait until the very end. So if you guys want to, so we don't ruin it for anybody that doesn't want to hear spoilers, because they exist. Anyway,
Spoilers, they exist.
They exist. Warshed is coming in episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. Brock, you obviously knew this was coming.
Sorry, what did you say?
War is on
War
the
is
horizon.
coming. Yeah, it's part of the title. Yeah, it's almost in all of them. But yeah, John Boyega says he thinks this is the end of Finn, or at least him playing Finn. I feel like that's another interview being read into a little too deeply, because I mean, we want these characters to continue on, but we also get the sense that like this is going to end and we're going to get a whole new storyline that might be a different time period, or in the future, in the past, in the next couple of trilogies. But I don't know. I never assumed it meant like Finn would die. I just feel like, well, I haven't been signed on for any contract, therefore I think I'm done with it. So I don't know. It's too early to tell, I feel. But I don't know. I don't want to be a person that's like, I don't know. But I just sort of, I don't trust actors sometimes, because it's like, or especially actors in the Star Wars universe. Because Ian McDiarmid was probably asked once or twice at some point, do you think the Emperor will ever come back? And at some point he knew he was going to come back in some form, and he probably said no, or whatever, or I don't know. Like, I don't trust any news unless it's in a trailer. You know what I mean?
You can't. Matt Smith came out and he said he's not in this movie. After all the reports that we heard said that he was in this movie. And if he ends up being in this movie, then he's just a liar. But it makes sense that he lied, because he's probably playing some kind of super duper secret role that nobody needs to know about. And we shouldn't know that he's in the movie. So, yeah, they should just, the whole episode 9 panel when Stephen Colbert was asking questions to J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy, and they're not going to answer them. Let's just skip over that song and dance. And let's just say, what can you tell us today? Lando is in it. BB-8 has a new friend named Dio. Chewie. 3PO, no more red arm. And there's a new actress who's playing Janna. Figure that out. And then here's Poe. Poe's back, and he looks like Indiana Jones, and that's awesome. Yeah. And think about they can't say anything. There's no point in pretending anybody can say anything. If a Star Wars actor goes on to a press junket for something, there should just be like don't ask a Star Wars question, because it's useless. Because I just feel like when Benedict Cumberbatch played Khan, and he denied playing Khan, it's like, well, now he's just a liar. Like, it's just kind of stupid. Like, okay, you're just lying. How about, first of all, who figured that one out? Secondly, why, just don't ask the question. And if you're going to ask the question, the publicist says, not today. Keep that one in the bank. So that's how for me personally, I'm just don't ask them any questions. Unless you're Josh Gad doing those videos with Daisy Ridley, then that's funny.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. Those ones were great. I hope they do that again, because I think they're in another movie together, but I guess they're not doing it because it would have happened by now. So,
yeah, because is it supposed to be Murder on the Nile, or all those characters in that movie? Probably not. That's probably all. It's just Kevin Kline returns for that.
Kenneth Branagh, you mean the greatest wizard in Harry Potter history? Right.
Kenneth Branagh.
By the way, they made his Funko Pop. His character for Harry Potter. Yeah. So. Yes. So, the pop is there, and I was ready to shell out $50, $60, whatever dollars it was to get a wand in Harry Potter World, Universal, and I said, the only one I want is Kenneth Branagh's, and they looked at me, and they said, he is the worst wizard. We would never sell that wand. And I said, then you will not have my business, and I walked out of there. We're a step closer to me getting that wand, I feel. I really feel like it.
Kudos to Universal for that little detail.
Yeah,
I'm like,
she was really kind of offended that I asked for that wand too. Like, sir, do you not know of him? I'm like, yeah, He's the best one of them all. Him, like I would have got a Dobby. Like they had no Dobby stuff either, which I don't even want. You know what? This is a Star Wars podcast. Let's stick to the meat. Galaxy's Edge is coming.
Woo!
Is this going to be in your news story? Because apparently the cheapest hotel you can get right now is like $768 a night.
No, because I knew we were going to talk about it, so I avoided all stories. I read them to talk about now. Yes. So apparently the only rooms available in Anaheim are the $700 rooms.
So I booked 2.
This is not news because I went to Orlando in January, and when I was trying to book it in November, all the rooms are not available anyways. Like that's just a Disney thing in general. I would argue. I've never been to Anaheim, so maybe I won't judge. I'm just telling you, people that go to Disney like to stay in the park. I mean, again, I don't know how the hotels work in Anaheim. I know that staying in the Disney hotels in Orlando is convenient because you don't have to drive to the park. You can take the monorail, the buses, blah, 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 blah. I would assume that it's similar.
And you get in early to the rides as well.
This is the thing. Because I read what you sent me, and then I also read what my girlfriend Reham sent me, and they're not conflicting, but they're also like, which one is accurate? And one was like straight from the Disney Instagram where like, you can't reserve your ticket or your time to go into Star Wars Galaxy Edge until May 2nd.
Yes.
Now the hotel reservations allows you for that spot, but I still don't understand how they can book their time now when you can't book it till May 2nd. I guess, are you in a queue for a line or something like that?
Probably.
I couldn't follow that part.
I only just kind of read it and said, wow, it's not like I have a shot at this anyway. So that's how I kind of read it. I saw like the ad was like, get ready. But apparently the other thing is they're only letting you stay in Galaxy's Edge for like 4 hours or something like that. Like, so like you can come, but you're only here for 4 hours. I kind of want to just go and like chill and like walk around and be like, well, this is crazy. I'm going to go watch the Muppet Show again. Because that was great. And I hope they still do like the Phasma Stormtrooper parade down Main Street or whatever it is. Because that was awesome to watch. We showed that on the video after. Like Star Wars has the impact is there. You feel Star Wars in Hollywood studios. There's like I hope you can still meet BB-8, Chewie, and Kylo. I don't know why you can't meet Vader. I guess because he's dead. But I hope you can still meet them. And then Star Tours, who knows if that's going to stick around. I hope it does because that was phenomenal. But so Toy Story Land was to a way lesser extent than Galaxy's Edge, I imagine.
Yeah.
But it was RAM. But we walked in and we walked around. We're like, this is cool. I wasn't too depressed that I didn't do any rides or anything because nothing really stood out to me that I wanted to do in Toy Story Land. Yeah. But it was, I mean, the atmosphere was cool.
I mean, you got to keep in mind, this is Disney. They own the concept of amusement park. I'm not saying that Walt Disney created the amusement park. I don't know, like, carnivals pre-existed before Disney. But, like, even when it's busy, it's still organized. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it is weird that you have to make a reservation for the first month of Anaheim, Disneyland's Galaxy Edge opening. Totally get it, but it's for a reason. These people know what they're doing. The 4-hour thing I can't wrap my mind around because it's like, how are they possibly gonna control that? I mean, I guess if your ticket is within a certain time, then you probably can't go on rides anymore after a point, which would make sense to me because that, like, outside of that, once you're in the park, you're in the park. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, you need your app and your ticket to get on rides, but nobody is telling you to leave until the park closes. So I would argue maybe you have 4 hours to go on rides, that is where time it gets. That is the one thing that creates lines. Well, obviously, like the people waiting in lines is the bulk of of the park. So having the pass like expire at some point. Yeah, that makes sense to me because otherwise people each day won't get a stab at it. So I guess in that way, but I don't feel like you have a 4-hour window to go on as many rides as you want. and then the rest of the day till the park closes to walk around. Because I would argue 50% of going to a Disney park is walking around, seeing the things. It's not just about going on Splash Mountain. It's not about going on the Thunder Mountain Railroad thing, or seeing the whatever. It's a small world. It's walking around, interacting, because you know how Disney works. You can do all these fun things where, like, if you do this right here, some crazy stuff will happen. Or you can see a puppet show with the Muppets, or you can see a parade in Main Street, or the light show at the very end. So I would argue, because they want to keep you in the park. They have to pay for this park. So why would they usher people up? I just feel like there's somewhat of a misinformation on this. Is it going to be crazy there? Hell yes.
I just want to say whether we're doing top 5 lightsaber hilts at the end of the show. But you listen to me, Disney. Harry Potter, Universal, they lost my $50. You want my 50, 60, 70, 80, 100? I will give you $150 if you allow me to buy Kit Fisto's lightsaber. That is happening. I will buy it. It will be mine. Apparently they made a Kit Fisto Black Series lightsaber, like, those full length. I had no idea. It's sold out online. I saw it today. Yeah. Not that he made my top 5 or anything. But, sorry, Darth Ward just sent me a text message and my phone went nuts.
You up?
He's like, hey, what's up? We didn't never tell me the odds earlier. Yeah, and he lost. Not that there's a winner. There's no winner, but that's how it is. I'm looking forward to Galaxy's Edge. I don't know when I'll ever go because we did Harry Potter 2 years ago now, and it had been out for like over 10 years at this point, and it was still. Do you remember lunch? Like, lunch was like, wow, there's 1 million people in here for lunch, but we got our food like that. Like, it was like in and out, in and out, in and out, and so I can only imagine what Star Wars Land is going to be if they keep. If The Mandalorian's a hit, Cassian Andor's a hit, the Benioff and Weiss thing, if that ends up being a hit, even if they're not, like, the first 5-10 years are going to be just bonkers. Dude, you're going to try to go this summer.
Yeah, and hopefully when I go, it'll be about 2 or 3 weeks after this reservation thing is over, so that'll probably be even busier because people are like, oh, no, we won't go there. But like I said before, if it's an issue of getting in, I can wait. I mean, we want to go to Celebration in Anaheim in 2020. It's going to be right there. We can easily do the park.
Oh, heck yeah. We gotta find out when the heck that is going on, because I wanted to do the Star Wars half marathon or 10K at Florida at Disney World. What's it called? Yep. Trials? Something, speed trials? I don't know. I'm slow. But so I want to do that, and that's happening April 16th weekend next year. So I got to find out. Come on, you got to let me know when Celebration's happening, so I know if I can do that run or not. But it's registration for the run is not until July, so I guess we have time. I think we're going to find out the dates for Celebration probably in like a month. If it's in April, then we're going to find out soon, because if it's going to repeat what happened last year, it'll end up soon. But if it's in the fall, like, I kind of have this feeling that it might be. We'll find out. It could also be the summer. But either way, the next 5 months we'll be spending all of our money on Celebration tickets. I'm okay with that. 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back. 40th anniversary. Do you want to move on to some Never Tell Me the Odds?
Yeah, let's do it.
Never Tell Me the Odds, brought to you by our Patreon. Do you have the list in front of you?
I do.
Awesome. Do you want me to start first?
Yeah, I just got to pull up my thing and close a bunch of windows here.
I will go first. Here we go. Yeah. Thank you, Patreon. And you are in no particular order: Heidi Fedor, Barry Brophy, Dennis Allen, Christine Allison, Mary Kristen Athen, Jeff Wilson, Aaron Quinton, Al Schuler, Phil Standiforth, Brock Takeit,
Heather Long, JRB Nerdcast, Scott D, Jacob Nixon, Andy Higgins, Mason Hope, Matt W, FP, and my personal villains, Den of Nerds. No, yeah, and no Andrew Fantasia once again.
Anyway, today's odds. Thank you very much. I don't know why they're brought to us by you, but they are. So thank you, Patreon. If you guys want to check out our Patreon, go there. We have tiers of $1, $2, $3, and $10, and all of them have exclusive, cool content. And we're doing more and more videos with the Rebel Scum tier, guys. So it's a lot of fun over on the Patreon side of things. And thank you. Your support means a lot to both of us, but not to Andrew.
He's the worst.
The first odd is actually from Andy Higgins of Patreon fame. And you might see him in the Day 5 Star Wars Celebration Chicago recap that Andrew did. He is there.
Oh, cool.
So here we go. The odds of a reference or mention to Padme in Rise of Skywalker. Ba-ba, ba-ba-da, wa-wa, wa-wa-da.
I'm gonna go high, because I think the Skywalker lineage is gonna be important. I honestly think Anakin may make an appearance, so mentioning Padme is a very high possibility. I'm gonna go 80%.
80%. I am going to go high as well. We heard Darth Sidious mentioned in Last Jedi.
That's right.
I really want Shmi to be mentioned in this movie, like hardcore. And I want J.J. Abrams to like hate his life while he wrote that and be like, I have to write Shmi Skywalker.
Yeah.
I don't really want JJ hate his life. That was a joke, but I want Shmi to be mentioned for real. I'm gonna go also 80% on Padme because I think it's gonna be popular. I really hope we go back to Naboo, and I hope there's something on Naboo about that. And we hear Padme Amidala or something Amidala, or the Queen of Naboo when she was 16 was a queen. Her name was Padme, and then he gets cut off. So that's what I hope there. Our next odd is coming to us via satellite. Mr. Andrew Fantasia.
Boo.
Brock, are you ready to hear this odd?
I guess.
All right, let's Andrew, what is your odd?
Hello, James and Brock. I want you guys to do me a favor. I want you to do what C-3PO was never allowed to do, and I want you to tell me some odds, okay? Here is my odd for today. What are the odds that the word Sheev is spoken out loud in The Rise of Skywalker? I'm going to say 24%. What do you guys think?
Ooh, Andrew dropping it like it's hot because he is such a huge Sheev fan. He's given 24% on the name Sheev being mentioned in Rise of Skywalker. I'm going to go 25%. I just think that they refer to him as Emperor or Palpatine more than Sheev, although I would love it if they say Sheev once or twice or three times. So if the movie was just called The Rise of Sheev.
When did they finally drop that name? I feel like that was something in the last few years that was Sheev Palpatine. Because all of a sudden we started talking about it. Was it one of the books?
I'm just reaching into my archives here and grabbing the Ewan McGregor Phantom Menace novelization based on the screenplay and story by George Lucas. I randomly opened it up to page 183. Qui-Gon and company rode out of Mos Espa. Okay, that's not going to be in this scene then. Gungan. The Gungans mentioned, just like in Bloodline, the novel. I don't know if you remember that. So anyway, Brock, you give your Kiadi Mundi. You should give your ad while I look through here. Do you remember when he appears in this movie? Ooh,
I'm going to go 60% because if Padme is gonna get mentioned, Sheev just is very possible it could be mentioned as well because they'll be like, oh, she Palpatine with Darth Sidious. I mean, with the Jedi text being saved by Rey, like I feel like somewhere she'll have some piece of information. I mean, for all we know, Obi-Wan's journal is in there, right? So perhaps he's written some of that stuff down.
But would she say it, or would she just be like Emperor Palpatine? Palpatine had stopped moving and was standing before the... Okay, so you're not saying Sheev yet. Wah, 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 wah. Wah, 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 wah. Did you give a nod?
What?
Did you give an odd?
Yeah, 60%.
Ooh, a Sith Lord, Mace Windu repeated with a growl, leaning forward. He was a strong, dark-skinned man with a shaved head and penetrating eyes, smooth face despite his years. Impossible, Ki-Adi-Mundi snapped irritably, not bothering to hide his dismay at the suggestion. The Sith have been gone for a millennium. Anyway, it just says Palpatine. Oh, no! Oh, what? Oh, I just saw Palpatine, but Senator Palpatine.
Yeah, it always referred to him as Senator.
A moment later, Palpatine ushered. I think it's in one of the books. Hold on.
Because it came up in the last few years, so...
La 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 la. This is Attack of the Clones novelization. This one's written by R.A. Salvatore.
Oh, wow, really?
Yep. Padme, Camino. Is he in this movie?
Is Palpatine in those movies?
Is Palpatine? Does he play a part in this one? No, Mom. No, don't. Padme slipped out of bed and ran to the door, not even bothering to grab a robe, not even caring or noticing that she was wearing a revealing silken shirt. Shift. I can't read. Shift. No. Oh, Django. Nearly there, son. When is he? Is he actually in this movie? Dooku replied. Okay, Dooku. You know what's weird is Darth Tyrannus.
Yeah.
It's like the most unused name ever.
Yeah. And even at the time, we didn't really understand who Dooku was. Because it's like, do they mention he was a Jedi in Attack of the Clones?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, he was Qui-Gon's master.
You read Master and Apprentice, and it's like seeing Dooku as a Jedi. It's like, oh, this is a little jarring. Or not seeing, reading.
Master Sidious. Welcome home, Lord Tyrannus. He's not even Darth Tyrannus. He's Lord Tyrannus. Okay, you know what? They might say Sheev at the end of this one. Hold on. Do you think we just lost a subscriber?
Oh, for sure.
Darth Sidious. Okay, you know what? Hold on. This is my jump trooper.
Nice.
The glare. Okay, I got Revenge of the Sith. Here we go.
If you're just tuning in, this is James Reads Books out of camp.
Dooku. Dooku's still alive on page 118. That's kind of impressive. I'm not gonna lie. This is like when the ring gets destroyed halfway through Return of the King. Anyway. So if he is mentioned as Sheev, I can't find it. And Palpatine won't be moving against the Senate. Yeah, I don't know when. I honestly, it was one of these books. He's mentioned as Sheev in one of these for real. I'm not just making this up out of the. But yeah, I still have to go low on it though, because I think they're gonna just refer to him as Emperor Palpatine, not Sheevy. All right, our final odd is once again brought to us by Andy Higgins. And this one I'm going to go, I really like this one. And this is the odds of Anakin flashback featuring Hayden Christensen. And odds of an Anakin flashback featuring Hayden Christensen.
I mean, well, I would think it would be Hayden Christensen if they do it. Like, why not? He's older, it would work. This doesn't really matter if he's older, I guess. Because I'm pretty high on the other two, I'm gonna go 80%, no, 85%, because I think Anakin needs to be in this in some form, if it's a CG character or whatever. Like, I think it's called Rise of Skywalker. Let's talk about as many Skywalkers as possible. There's not a lot of them, so there you go.
Yeah, I have to go high too. I'm gonna go 75% because I still feel like they're afraid to put him in the movie. Yeah. And the other thing is because it's worded as a flashback. Is it gonna be a flashback we're gonna see him in? And actually, when we get to the spoilers, maybe I'll say yes. So I'm gonna go 70. You know what? I'm gonna change it to 91%. What? Yes, I just went super high on 91%. I shocked myself, Brock. I shocked myself on that odd. Let us know
what Aaron thinks you're doing up here when you're shouting.
No, she's writing a work email or an essay or something. All right. And let us know what you guys think. What are your odds in the comments below? Because we want to know. That's what makes this so much fun to do it. Brock, are you ready to go to Coruscant,
Yep.
and perhaps give some Hollow news to the people.
Hello,
Needs some
news.
Hollow news. Here we go.
Everybody's favorite news. So a couple of fun things. Because it's Star Wars and it's always fun things. Uniqlo announced that they will be releasing a Star Wars series of T-shirts. If you're not familiar with Uniqlo, they are I don't know how old they are. We're slowly getting them more and more in Canada. But it's
Brock,
just a clothing store.
the Ewok and droids ones. Oh my
Yes.
god.
Oh, you saw this then. Because I don't know how old, new or old this story was. I think it comes they come out in March or sorry April 29th. Did I read that right? Anyways, yes, starting next Monday, April 29th. I don't know if this will be in Canada or just the States because I've been to one in both countries and the variation of things is slightly different. But man, are these awesome! Go to Uniqlo or just type in Uniqlo Star Wars shirts, and they are so awesome. But they have like 8 or 9 different versions. If you ever been to Uniqlo, they tend to do this with different designers and different franchises. They did a Mickey Mouse up till recently, but there's some cool ones. There's one with Greedo, and on the back it's some of the lines he said. And there's Star Wars, and then and then Japanese letters, and there's like the Hangover sort of style shirt, but it's technically Yoda hanging to the back of Luke in that little pouch. But when you look at it, it kind of looks like the baby from the Hangover. You see some old style Star Wars graphics, and then as James just mentioned, there will be Ewok T-shirts, Droids T-shirts, and then Boba Fett from the Christmas special. That style of cartoon animation will be a shirt. These are must-haves for any Star Wars fans, and I truly expect all of you to be going to your local Uniqlo or ordering online because they do that as well. These shirts are perfection. So I just wanted to mention that because that is a cool find. But let's move on. In real news, there's a hotel in Tunisia that apparently a lot of people like to speculate that influenced George Lucas when he was filming there on the design of the sand crawlers. It's in Tunisia, and it's a very unique looking that looks almost exactly like a sand crawler. Though some concept artists have said, no, we decided what it was going to be well before they ever went to Tunisia. But it is going to be it's been condemned and going to be knocked over because it's been closed since 2000 because it's such a lavish place, and Tunisia for a while was not a fun place to be. The tourism section of the country kind of just shut down, so it's been sort of left unused, and it's very expensive to upkeep, so they are probably going to tear it down, though a local petition has been put into place because it's a beautiful architectural wonder, so they want to keep that, culture of Tunisia still going. Though, like I said, it's been under huge repair for a long time and it's very expensive. Moving on to comic books, 2 stories today, both out today. 2 new Star Wars titles. Star Wars Galaxy Edge, which will literally be a miniseries about life on Blackspire on the planet Batuu. And it came out today, and it kind of has a connection with Return of the Jedi, because when you follow 3 characters around, Remix and Wuro, and a female, 2 aliens named Remix and Wuro, and a human named Kendo. So 2 males and 1 female, I believe. I could be wrong. That's how I read it into. But they will go to Batuu and go to Doc Ondar, his trading post, which, if you watched Celebration and saw the Galaxy's Edge panel, you saw him. He's an Ithorian. He's going to be in one of the stores where you can buy all your Star Wars merchandise, and it's going to be sort of like a junk trader sort of look. Anyways, he's in this store, and they go there, and in his store is our baby Sarlacc. He has baby Sarlacc for sale, And apparently Han and Chewie come in at some point and what have you. But that's a cool little, so check that out, especially if you want to learn more about this park. And secondly, out today is the Age of Rebellion special, which has been part of the series that Marvel's been doing in the last few months with Age of the Republic, Age of Rebellion now, and then I guess we'll do Age of. Well, no, I guess they will skip the Age of whatever we're in now. But this special had a story that brought us to Dagobah to see Yoda prior to Luke showing up, and basically revealing that he would prefer that the Jedi Order just went out of existence, because after he's thinking about the failure of preventing Order 66 and allowing the Empire to take over. He says stance shockingly mirrors thought that enabled the Sith victory and failed to bring balance to the Force. Most notably, his stance shockingly mirrors what an older Luke went through in The Last Jedi. I can't even talk. I'm glad we have a podcast. So anyways, he's very doom and gloom, and then apparently Luke shows up and he has a spark. I found that very interesting. I haven't read it. I do want to get it, and I will review it if I think there's anything else to review. But I found it very interesting after reading, from a certain point of view, a novel from about 2 years ago, I believe, where we get a Yoda story on Dagobah. That's the one where he assumes a female Skywalker is going to show up, but then Obi-Wan's Force Ghost, I was like, no, it's a male, Luke. So these are two kind of interesting. I want to see how they can possibly match up. Hopefully there wasn't a screw up or like, oh yeah, you can write this story, no problem. And that's pretty much it for Hollow News, comics, clothes, and condemned hotels. What else can we say? This is Star Wars.
This is Star Wars, Brock. Sheev Palpatine was first revealed to be the name of Chancellor Palpatine in the novelization Tarkin by James Luceno.
Okay.
But I remember this. There was a tweet from Pablo Hidalgo. I couldn't find it while you were doing the news. I couldn't find the tweet, so it wasn't one of those books. I knew it was a book though. But there was a tweet, and apparently the name Palpatine. The first time Pablo Hidalgo knew the name Palpatine was from, I believe, the 90s from George Lucas. So it actually did come from George Lucas. I can't really confirm that. But it was an old tweet. I will tweet Pablo Hidalgo and he'll be like, stop bothering me. The Jets are out of the playoffs and so are the Leafs. Canada. So we'll figure that one out because I know that's pressing. Everybody is like, we need to know. Speaking of needing to know, top 5 lightsaber hilts.
Top 5.
Yeah. We did this top 5. Like, I think it was like our second episode, like a long time ago. We did top 5 lightsaber hilts. Yeah, so this is a rehash of that. I'll go first because I know you got to think about yours. We've been doing this 123 times. I know how it works. Ahsoka. Ahsoka Tano. She's got pretty dope ones. It looks similar to another one that's a little bit higher on my list because they're similar. But I really like Ahsoka's. The white blade, especially. Big fan of. Wait. Oh, the light is so hot. Look, she's like, oh, I'm gray now. I will find Ezra. That's the song she sings when she goes to find Ezra. Those lightsabers are sick.
Yeah. My number 5 is a new entry. It's the lightsaber from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order because it looks cool. We know nothing about it. It looks like it's half destroyed. It also kind of looks like it's made out of a tree. I don't know. I want to know, and it's on the top 5. So there.
It might make my top 5 after I play the game, but right now it is not because I am a originalist. Original. My number 4 is the one that started it all. Anakin Skywalker's, Luke Skywalker's, or Rey Skywalker's, depending on your point of view of whose lightsaber that is. I'm calling it Anakin's because he built it, although in Rise of Skywalker, it looks like Rey will have rebuilt it. So I guess technically, Lucasfilm, you played us all for fools because it is Rey's saber. I like that one. It's simple. It's blue or white, depending on the film you're watching. And I love it. Ba ba ba
James,
ba da.
I'm gonna switch it up and add new entries into this list. I'm gonna go the dark saber from Rebels because after making things canon, they had to get rid of all the other little lightsaber things that we saw in different versions of Legends. So this is now canon. I like the concept of it's like a mixture of Jedi and Mandalorian sort of put together, even though the original user was a Jedi. But I like how it's so different, and I think they should make more stuff like that.
Damn, that's a good one.
Ba, 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 ba.
Whoa, whoa! Count Dooku's his blade. It's Count Dooku's is my number 3, because it's actually probably my favorite. But it's amazing. I really like it. It's pretty slick. He's like, "Whoa, look at me! I am Count Dooku," and I love that he's like getting his due, at least in like
his due.
Dooku. In Master and Apprentice, he really appears a lot, and he's getting his own radio drama next week, which I'm super excited for. Although the way I'm feeling about listening to audiobooks now might be, although this is more radio drama, so it's less.
Yeah.
But so we'll see how it is. I still would kind of wish I could read it, but Dooku's awesome. I'm glad he's coming back, and I mean he'll be back on the Clone Wars, I would guess as well. So good on Dooku. Dooku is my number 3.
My number 3 is also going to be from the prequel era. I'm going double-bladed Darth Maul lightsaber, where we're like, wow, 2 of them together. I love Dooku's one. I like the pose of it, the way he holds it. But there's just something exciting about Ray Park twirling around a plastic toy of his own lightsaber. So I'm going to go double-bladed Darth Maul lightsaber on number 3.
You can't go wrong with that. My number 2.
Oh, snap.
I told Aaron we need to get a cat so I can name my cat Kit Fisto. And this Kit Fisto is my number 2. Disney, you have my money. Just make the saber. Let me pick it. You have my money. You have it. You have it. I would buy that one over my number 1 because there's a reason for that. But I would totally buy that one over my number 1. Brock, your number 2.
Like my number 5, my number 2... I've chose on the visceral effect it has. Kylo Ren's lightsaber from Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and I assume Rise of Skywalker. I just like it. I like how it has a hilt. I also like how it kind of sputters like it's about to explode. So I like that concept of it's very raw. And it's very cool. Number 2.
My number 1.
Da, 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 da.
I'm going to change things up, and I'm going to show the Mighty Mug. At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have our revenge. Da, 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 da. Anyway, this is Maul.
Let's go to the mall.
This was my first ever Funko Pop.
Yeah.
You got me this.
Yeah,
His,
it's a nice one.
oh, he came off his stand. The
They all do.
resale value is dwindling. I don't even think I have to explain this. I love Darth Maul. End of discussion.
My number 1, bringing it back to the original trilogy, is Luke's green lightsaber from Return of the Jedi. I had to choose.
Money.
I was like, I'm going to switch it up. I'm not going to say the popular ones. And as much as you would argue the first one, Anakin's lightsaber, is more prominent, it's nice. I like Return of the Jedi, therefore I like the green one better. And he made it himself. I would actually like to know where it went.
I'm not gonna lie. If it wasn't for the sequels and the prequels, Luke's would be. If it wasn't for all of the movies, Luke's would be up there because that was the one that, as a child, Return of the Jedi was obviously the movie that I think I watched the most, and so yeah, Luke's is absolutely up there for me as well. Okay, that kind of concludes the show. Thank you for watching. If you don't want to hear spoilers, we're going to talk about supposed spoilers now. We say supposed because people are saying that it's true, but it might not be true, but it could be true, but who knows if it's true because we're still 8 months away from watching this movie. Who knows? But it's on Reddit, and anything on Reddit goes.
Therefore, it probably isn't true.
Yeah. So we're going to count to 5, and then we're going to go into spoilers. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2. Spoiler alert. Da, 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 da. Whoa, whoa, spoilers. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, let's go on to spoilers. Brock, what do you know about these spoilers?
They say Han Solo is gonna be in the next movie.
I think they said that about The Last Jedi as well. But anyway, how is Han Solo going to be in this movie?
He's gonna be a ghost, but not a Force ghost. But he's gonna be a ghost. I'm like,
But it's not going to be a ghost. It's going to be a vision, and the vision's going to be like conceived by Luke. Like Luke is going to plant the vision inside Kylo.
can we just let Harrison Ford retire? Like, I would love Harrison Ford to be in as many Star Wars movies as possible, but like, I was just gonna say, we threw him down a shaft. He's not coming back, but we threw Palpatine down a shaft, and look where we are now.
So what you're saying is Han Solo is Snoke.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if Kylo Ren, if Ben Solo ends up being redeemed, I think it makes sense to have his father kind of haunt him in a fashion at the beginning, like you are not this guy. And it's funny because when you talk to people, I love talking to people about the Ben-demption, the redemption of Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, and a lot of people with children say, how can he not be redeemed? And then the people without children who are heartless and soulless are like, he will rule the galaxy and he will be the villain. He's going to die a villain. And it's amazing, these two separate viewpoints on this character. If you have a kid, no, there needs to be a lesson. There needs to be a moral. We need to see the relative of our hero, Luke Skywalker, be good. We need that. That needs to happen. And then obviously everybody else is like, no, So where do you stand on that one, Brock?
I mean, I'm not against it per se, especially if it's a flashback, because if you've listened to our podcast, you know I want to know what happened between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. I don't think I've even said this to you, James. When I see Leia in the teaser with Rey and they're hugging and a tear goes down Rey's cheek, I just assumed automatically that it was some kind of vision of some sort. Even though we don't know if Leia lives or dies in this movie, I assumed it was Rey has gone to some kind of place where she sees people who are gone, and that's why she's sad. So it could fit in that concept of like, perhaps she enters a vision, perhaps Luke creates this vision for Kylo to see, because Luke does mention Han at the end of their battle, so it would be nice to continue that. But yeah, I mean, I would love to know what happens.
I think it can make sense if it's Luke kind of bringing this vision of Han Solo to Ben. I think that makes sense to me personally, but what do I know? I'm just a guy in a Vader t-shirt. Why doesn't his hilt make my list?
I don't know. What's wrong with you?
A lot of things.
You truly didn't embrace the dark side.
I didn't embrace the dark side. Look, if you're going to bring, I don't know. I thought we were done with Han Solo. I love Han Solo. I thought we were done with old Han. I guess we're not. If this ends up being true, as long as it works out, I really am fine with it. I guess, There's one more leak I want to talk to you about quickly before we wrap this puppy up, and that is the new force power that may or may not have been leaked. I think this is from Making Star Wars said this. Don't quote me, because I forgot about it until we were talking, and I realized that there's a new force power. Do you want to know this, or are you like,
sure,
stay away from this one?
I never really believe if Making Star Wars anyways.
Even though they're always accurate. The Space Cow was right.
We'll get Lumberjack Jim to draw us another picture.
Anyway,
whatever that guy's name was.
So, apparently it's going to be like force jump. So what's going to happen is they're going to fight. Kylo Ren and Rey are going to fight, and then they're going to their force bond is going to be so powerful that they're going to jump from locations throughout the sky, this whole 9 films. So they'll be on the Death Star, and they'll be on Endor, and they'll be on Tatooine, and all that. That apparently is the rumor of what's happening there. So that is how you can actually get Anakin in a flashback is, we flash back to Mustafar and there's Obi-Wan and Anakin, and then you have, Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor there, and then you could flash back. There's Natalie Portman as Padme, so it's an opportunity to do that. I don't know how far they'd go with that if that is the case, but I don't know. We haven't talked about this obviously, so I want to hear what you think of it.
I like the idea, but I don't know if it works in a movie, because I feel like that's like, it kind of sounds like Quantum Leap. Where are we going next? Because like the second you make that real, people are like, oh, then you can jump to like the Clone Wars and Anakin's on board one of his ships and Ahsoka's standing right beside him. Imagine that, and it's only for like a split second that you see them and they like jump in and they jump out. Like that's how I envision that when you talk about that. I like the idea. I don't know if I like the jumping through time part per se. But like I said, I thought Rey went somewhere where like Leia is alive, and again, we don't know if she's dead or not once we watch this movie. So it kind of fits with how I envision some things. I don't hate it. It reminds me of Nightcrawler from X-Men. We'll bamf to another place.
Yeah, it's definitely got that where they could be like, well, we want to show all these, and if it's, let's say if it's caused by Sheev or it's caused by Anakin's lightsaber or Rey's lightsaber, if it's caused by that kyber crystal, that's a possibility. That maybe that's what sends them there. Is like this crystal is trying to take them somewhere, and maybe that's how they discover Sheev's return. Right? It's like all of this is happening because the kyber crystal is speaking to them through these jumps, so that they can see this mystery unfold that is Sheev.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Going back to the Han thing, the funny thing is what I've already said about it is sort of my reaction to this current Reddit theory. But when you think back to Force Awakens, I was like, oh yeah, there's going to be like, we're going to see time jumps or whatever. We're going to see flashbacks. I was all for it to see what happened between that. So outside of like, oh, I don't think that's gonna work. Like, I wanted it at one point, so putting Harrison Ford back in, cool, why not? Like, but I've said it before. I don't think Harrison Ford really wants to do these kind of things anymore. But I don't know. Does he owe George Lucas money still? But George Lucas has no control of it. So.
Or you know what? Maybe J.J. Abrams just gave him a call and said, "Look, we know you don't want to do this anymore, but we have this part. It will help. It'll help wrap up this story." And I think Harrison Ford, he's older now. He's what, like 80, 75, whatever he is. He's probably like, "All right." Or Lucasfilm was like, "No Indiana Jones if you don't do this," and he's like, "Oh, what it is, Ben." Or maybe they just get Alden Ehrenreich to play Han Solo. You ever think of that? Maybe it's young Han coming.
I'd be down for that.
And he's like, Ben, I'm your dad as a kid. I'm your age. You're screwing up big time. Here's my dice. Ba-ba-ba-ba-da.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think the problem with Rise of Skywalker is there's so many people in this friggin' movie. Like, you just brought back Palpatine. And you're going to bring Han Solo back? Like, how are we going to fit that all in a movie? Because it's going to be 3 hours.
I don't know if you know this, but there's a movie called Avengers Endgame coming out, which has 900,086 billion characters in it. And people are saying it's good.
Yeah, I agree. But it's slightly different. Because you can do Infinity War in the comics and have every single character. And if they don't get a ton of screen time, you're not as mad. But like as a movie, it's sort of like, it still works as a movie. But I think with Star Wars, it's like, we need answers, right?
Yeah. Well, J.J. Abrams said that he's going to bring answers, and apparently they did contact Ian McDiarmid right away. Like when they were doing, I think all the way back to Force Awakens, like very early on, they said, "SheeVP is making a return.
Yep.
Are you on board?" Kind of like they did with James Earl Jones. They said, "You're going to be on board," and he was like. And he kept that secret the whole time.
Yep.
So who knows what kind of role he has? I think Andrew's going to mention this in Unleash coming up. But, they put him in the trailer, in the teaser trailer. He's not going to be a cameo, I don't think.
No, I don't think so
Like
either.
they hid Luke from us for Force Awakens for a reason. I don't think they would be like, Emperor's in it, and then you watch it and he's like, wow, it was just his laugh in a flashback.
Mhm.
I don't think it's going to be that. There's a possibility that maybe during these forced back things that are happening, we actually see like even more of the history of Sheev Palpatine. We see him young. Like maybe there's rumor that Matt Smith was playing a young Palpatine. What if that's the case? What if we see Palpatine when he's that young, like in those comics? He's young in the comics. If you remember, like the Plagueis story and all that, we see
Yeah.
him young, and then we see him older, and we know what happens in the prequels, so we could kind of gloss over that. So maybe we get even before the prequels, like, guess what? This guy was. Maybe we see him kill Plague. We won't go that far, but you know what I mean. Like, there's a possibility that we learn something even more about Sheev VP in this movie that we don't already know.
Yeah, possibly. I'm all for it. But yeah, I don't. I don't know. Han Solo just seems. But I just sort of like when I read it, I also thought like, oh, the Emperor. We thought he was dead. We threw him down a shaft, and now he's back somehow. And they're like, oh, just like Han, we can bring him back.
Everyone, no one is dead.
No one's ever really gone, James.
Ha 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 ha. Chewie.
Let's watch it again.
It would
Perfect.
have been fun to stay there. All right, let's wrap this up. That's it. We're done. Episode 123 has come and gone. It's been an emotional roller coaster from beginning to end. Let us know your top 5. If you're still with us, let us know your top 5 in the comments below. Brock, anything you want to say before we say farewell?
Check out our Patreon, and yeah, we're working on stuff.
You were always scum.
Rebel scum.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.